So Kim and Rachel had asked me to talk about some of my best practices and some of the tools that I use from Realty One Group when I have listings. Um, like I said, I am a little bit sick, but I've done the best I can, so hopefully can answer some questions. So to start, when I have a new listing, the first thing I do is make sure that my social media accounts look good. So I go to my Facebook business page. Some brokers use their own personal profile. I'm a little goblin online. I like to keep my work and professional, personal life separate. So first thing I do if I have a listing is I pin it to my featured listings up here, but also you want to make sure that your phone number is on here, your email address is on here, your website is on here, etc. I finally took a vacation. I've been working kind of nonstop for a couple of years. So my Instagram and stuff right now is not looking that great. I think the last thing I posted was the last day of May. So I definitely need to get on that. But let's say I have a listing coming up in 2 weeks. I know that I need to be posting significantly more, right? Like just posting this one and done is not going to be enough. My range of visibility right now, I think, is 500 people. When you post every day and then you're interactive on social media, which is posting yourself, doing stories, you can take your posts and share them to your stories, also interacting with other people. So you'll find that if you look at a lot of Rachel's posts for ROG, I like them a lot and I try to comment on our other brokers' posts. Quality comments are usually 5 words or more. And then I try to do this sort of intermittently throughout the day. So I'll do it in the morning after I wake up when I'm having coffee. I'll do it again around lunchtime. I'll do it around dinner time. And then I'll do it once again before bed. It's not necessary, but the more active you are on social media, the more likely that when you make a post on social media, it's well responded to. So sometimes when I've been slacking, like I have, if I know I have a listing coming up, I will spend a little bit of time sort of cajoling the algorithms to thinking that I'm hot diggity dog, so I actually get some reach and visibility. Picture day. So in my opinion, the property doesn't really look better than it does on picture day most of the time. Most of the time, our sellers are still living in their house. So there's the basic things like making sure every single light is on. I don't like having the fans on for photos, but I do turn them on for videos unless they give a strobe look. It kind of depends on how bright it is outside that day. Make sure all the blinds are open, toilet seats are down, curtains are open, areas of clear clutter, etc. And then as soon as the photographer and videographer is done, this is when I go through and I take a bunch of content for myself on my phone, because I'm getting high quality horizontal photos, right? They're usually bracketed and they're usually on a tripod, but Instagram especially really likes verts. And so that's when I'll go through, I'll take a lot of pictures, and then my goal is to have enough content that I take at the property that I have a story for every single day that my listing is on the market. So some of my ideas, the things that you want to convey aren't just pictures of the property, right? You want to give the feeling of the house. So, things like level entry makes it easy to carry groceries in from the garage, or my most recent listing was set on a big lot. It had beautiful trees around it. So I just stood there silently and took a video so you could hear all the birds chirping and what have you. Stuff like that, I think, makes it a lot easier so that when your listing is live, you're not going back to try and make content. Of course, when you do an open house or what have you, you can take more stuff then, but I always think it's easier to pull from your own personal sort of archive than it is to come up with stuff right away. Also on picture day, I will usually have my sign post installed by this point. I will bring a sign and I will take pictures of my sign swinging in the breeze or in front of the house or what have you. And then because it is technically pre-marketing, I'll go back down because you can't have your sign up before you go live. But just an idea. As soon as you get your pictures back, I like to write up my marketing remarks, and then I always like to pick my top 40 photos and put them in order. That way, when you're going through my listing, you're sort of able to feel what it feels like step by step walking through the house. My most recent listing, for example, was a split level, and split levels are really hard when you're, looking at them as a buyer, because you don't know what's upstairs, what's downstairs, unless you get a peek through that window. And so sometimes what I like to do is sort of work a little bit backwards. So I'll start with the pictures that I've chosen, the 40 pictures. You can upload them in advance to Matrix, so they're ready to go. And then what I'll do is I'll write the captions for each of my photos. And then that way I have like an excessive amount of words to choose from. Oh my God, what's my lag number? I forgot my lag number, you guys. That's how I'm doing right now. Okay, that was just the bronchitis. It's just the bronchitis. But yeah, so I'll start by just writing out all of these little notes, because then when it comes time to write my actual marketing remarks, I kind of know like what's important, what's not important. I've already sort of written out all the zhuzhy stuff. And so it's easier to sort of compile it into something smaller. But that way, it kind of feels like for buyers, they have a really good idea of like what walking through the house is like. Okay, yeah, so I always start with the longest remarks. So I go into like a Google Doc, I'll write out exactly what I want the house to say. I'll make sure to cut out any filler stuff that's not necessary, because it's always easier to start with the longer characters and then shorten it up, because NWMLS has like, what is it? It's not 180 characters, but it's like 500 characters. So on my marketing stuff, it usually looks a little bit different. Let me pull up my recent flyer. Rachel makes amazing flyers. I utilize Rachel's designs a lot of the time. My most recent listing was $1 million listing, and that's why I didn't, was because I wanted to come up with something brand new and different. Let me find it. Post a lot, so I apologize. Here we go. As soon as it pulls up. So this is the flyer that I made. It's technically 24 sheets, but it's 12 pages. Can you guys see it okay?
Yes, I can see it fine.
Cool. So I always want to make sure that it's branded, that it's licensed, that it adheres to Realty One Group corporate brand standards. You can send your stuff to Rachel and she will make sure that it's all good for you. So this is what I did too, is I did sort of excessive marketing remarks. So this is like the one I put on the MLS. And then I went through and broke it up like dining room, living room, kitchen, etc., just to sort of make it seem a little bit more in depth. And then something I always like to do with my listings is like, people know a lot from photos when they're looking at the house, right? But they don't always know like what the house looks like all year. So if it's wintertime, I like to ask my clients if they have pictures from summer or vice versa, just so people can imagine what their life is like there all year. I always ask my clients to come up with a list of their favorite parts of living in the home and then their favorite parts of living in the neighborhood. These are things that you cannot come up with for them because you're not trying to show any sort of bias or favoritism, but I always have them do it for me, and then I sort of judge it a little bit. And then, yeah, that's what I've got for that. So on that note, as soon as I have all of my pictures and my remarks, the first thing I try to do is send it over to Rachel. So she does have a really impressive turnaround time, but she still does need time to get everything ready. So if you send her everything the night before, I know she'll bust her butt to get it ready for you by going live tomorrow, but it's not super fair. So if you have that stuff in advance, even if you don't have your marketing remarks written up, as long as you can get the pictures to her, putting the pictures in the templates is going to take kind of the longest, because Rachel likes to go through and make sure the flow of the house makes sense, that she's using the most impressive photos, etc. And so sometimes, you know, I'll send Rachel stuff and then she'll send it back to me and I'll be like, actually, I want this photo as the cover photo. And having it done ahead of time means that there's no rush on either of us. Oh, thank you, Rachel. After that, I like to double check everything. I like to order title kind of as soon as I have the listing agreement signed. This is something Sarah Brannon has really driven into me, is to double check all the listing information with Realist and title. It's so much easier to do that than trying to fix things when they're live. After I've got everything ready for the property, I like to go to the office and print what I need. So Isaac makes fun of me. He's like, "You're such an old lady," but I love paper. So I like to print flyers, feature cards, like a welcome sign for when you first walk into the house, a sign about taking your shoes off, stay a while, etc. Our office does have a printer, but Realty One Group also has a discount with Office Depot. I think Rachel has that card. If you guys don't have it handy, I think it should be in the agent resources. But you can also get a discount there. Sometimes if I'm in a pinch and I don't have time to go to the office, I like using Office Depot because they'll cut my feature cards for me. They do laminate them for you as well. It's more expensive, so I usually have them cut them for me and then I laminate them at home with my own laminator. But we do have one at the office you can use as well. And then also I've tried like every single way to get my feature cards to stay on the wall, and nothing works better than painter's tape. So just a tip. So after that, after I've got, you know, my posts back from Rachel, etc., I go to business.facebook.com, which if you've been with the office a while, I'm sure you've heard me in the past talk about Creator Studio. So Creator Studio is gone now. Now it's just business.facebook.com, but it'll take you to this page that kind of looks like this. And then you have your accounts connected here. So I have my Instagram account and also my Facebook account. So you go to create post. And then for Instagram, you can only put in 10 photos. This is why using Rachel's templates are so helpful, because Rachel is going to pick the best possible photos and cram them into those 10 slides. That way you're getting the most bang for your buck out of your pictures. This doesn't mean that you can't also upload a video. You can't, you know, you can do that stuff too, but I think having like a post that you pin to the top of your page and the top of your Instagram is going to be the easiest way for people that are interested to come back to it. But you can add your photos, add your video, what have you, add your text. I always recommend checking in your location. And you like to do that in the geographic area that your listing is. I only check in to my own business location when I'm posting reviews. Otherwise, what I'm trying to do is geofence an area around my listing to garner interest in that area, so the algorithm shows it to people in that area more so. And then I always like to schedule it out. You can pick active times. This is based on the algorithm's perception of what time your content gets the most posting. I like to sort of pick, so I usually list on Thursdays because I like people to have a little bit of time before the weekend, and then do an offer review like Tuesday. That way they've got a little time after the weekend as well. But I will actually set my posts to go live around 8 or 9 a.m. the day they go live, rather than midnight, let's say. I am that psycho who stays up till 12:01, so her listing goes live as soon as the day it goes live as possible. But I like to wait to have my posts go live until a little bit later in the day, because that's when more people are going to be online. That's when you're more likely to get interaction. And then you want to spend some time, as soon as someone comments on your post or likes it or what have you, you want to tag people in it. You want to respond to their comments. You want to show Facebook and Instagram and LinkedIn, for that matter, how active you are on that post, so it keeps being in people's face all day, if not for multiple days. I always post my listings to, I have a Google business page, so I post them there. I post them to Facebook, Instagram, and LinkedIn. LinkedIn can be helpful because there's a lot of agents that I'm connected with on LinkedIn versus my Facebook and Instagram is more everyday people kind of thing. But obviously it depends on your sphere. And then I like to gather up all of the links that I've created. So this is the social media links, my Vimeo virtual tour, the Matterport tour, etc. And then I send that in an email to my clients because you don't know who they know. Like maybe they're really savvy on email and they're not as savvy on Facebook. Just having everything in their inbox, I think, really encourages them to be proactive in marketing their home to their sphere as well, because you never know who they know. Also, for that matter, how impressive is it to a seller to see that you, the agent, has put in this much work? And if they're sharing that with their friends, you're likely to impress their friends too. There's a lot of agents that don't go above and beyond, and you really want to sell yourself as being that person that does. After I have the link set up, I like to, or after I've set up my posts, for example, I'll send Rachel an email and I'll say like, hey, Rachel, here's the link to my Facebook business post. Could you share this to the ROG page? That way, instead of Rachel making an independent post on the ROG Facebook page, she can share my post, which helps spread our visibility a little bit more. Unfortunately, that's not possible on Instagram, but it is also possible on LinkedIn. And I don't know, I'm not great about it on LinkedIn, if we're being honest, but Rachel is going to bust her ass to do whatever possible to get your listing the most visibility. Basically, if you ask, you shall receive. I like to do brokers opens because I go about them kind of tactfully. Yes, you can just do brokers opens by putting them in the MLS, but what I like to do is I like to go around the neighborhood, like as if I was creating a farming area around where my listing is. I look at the recent solds and then I email all of those brokers individually that have sold homes around my listing to see if they want to attend. Inventory is tight. We have more buyers than sellers. A lot of times we're in a multiple offer situation, right? And so if they had a listing and they had 3 potential buyers coming in and they only accepted 1, we don't know that those other 2 buyers have already found a home. And if the listing agent was able to grab those individuals as buyers, the odds of them coming to try and do a cross sale with you is a lot higher. I also like to email local offices directly. Like my most recent listing was in Issaquah. We don't really have a Realty One group over there, but I think reaching out to other offices like Sotheby's and what have you could help like improve the attendance of your brokers open. In my notes in my phone, I'm like a preparedness queen. I hate having to do things last minute. So I like to pre-write some text messages or some feedback already. So one of the first things I do is I record a short video of myself that's like, hi, I'm Robyn Rodriguez with Realty One Group Turnkey. Thank you for touring my listing 14936, blah, blah, blah. If you have any questions at your showing today, please feel free to reach out. We'd be happy to work something out and answer any of your questions. And then whenever someone requests the showing, I will approve their showing and then I will send them that video. And a lot of times if there was any apprehension about going to the house or if they weren't sure about something, sometimes I can cajole them into coming to the property to see it because I've been so proactive. I also like to have a follow-up text message to send them afterwards, like, hey, thank you for showing, like, how did it go? Just because I think, if I do this where I go on showing tours and I look at like 8 different properties, and by the time I get home, I just only remember what my clients cared about. I don't always remember what they didn't like or didn't want per property. And so going back on showing time and remembering each individual house can be kind of a pain. But I think if you're a little bit more proactive and it's like a text message in your inbox, you're a lot more likely to get feedback from that buyer's agent than if you were to just reach out via showing time. Excuse me. And then on our offer review date, I always like to go into showing time and I will send a message to all the agents that toured the property. You can, if someone's like, absolutely not, my client hated it, you can take them out of that message thread so they don't, you're not bothering them twice. But I like to be like, hey, we have a couple offers in hand, nothing crazy if you're interested in competing, or you know, like competition is fierce, like please bring in your highest and best or what have you. Sometimes that can sort of reinitiate conversations of houses, you know, someone toured it on a Saturday, they found a house they liked better on Sunday, they wrote an offer, Monday comes, their offer didn't get accepted. Well, maybe that house that they saw your listing on Saturday looks a lot better now that their first choice kind of fell through, and sort of reminding the agent, like, we're here and they have an opportunity can be beneficial. Another thing that Sarah has drilled into me is as soon as an offer comes in, enter them into a multiple offer spreadsheet. This is something that Isaac and Kim have that they've shared with me. It's just like an Excel sheet. It's been super helpful for me. Not on this listing, but on my previous listing, I had a house that cash only, and it was not a tear down, but it was pretty deeply burned. And so we were selling it to sort of target investors, and we priced it competitively. And I ended up getting 17 offers. And my client is 75 years old, and he told me he's got some memory issues. And having those 17 offers written out on paper, what they are, what the terms mean, what the dates are, etc., really helped us sort of narrow down, like, okay, who are the top 5 offers? Let's give those people another chance to compete with their highest and best, and then pick the best one from there. It just makes life so much easier. Okay, so from there, I just want to talk briefly about like Realty One Group tools. So I've been with Realty One Group since 2014. I've seen a lot of tools sort of come and go. Some of these are really quality and some of these aren't as applicable to us. So something I always like to use is Box Brownie. So for example, in this listing, let's go to the garage photos. There was so many boxes right here. I don't know if I have the original photos, but there was tons and tons of boxes because my clients had cleared out their house so much that all the stuff they had packed had to go somewhere. And we had this sort of bonus flex room. We didn't really want it to look cram jam worth of stuff because then we felt like it wouldn't hold any value. But having the boxes in the garage meant that, you know, people knew there was nothing but wall behind it. So what you can do with Box Brownie, I think I posted about it in the brokers group, actually. Let me see.
You definitely did. I remember that post well because I was
okay. So,
sure.
Yeah, it's like, so you don't want to like misrepresent the property, right? And so sometimes even like greening the grass can be considered misrepresenting the property. And I'm kind of a rule follower. I'm not trying to piss off the MLS. And so I try really hard to only do things that are ethical. For example,
Hey,
my sort of
Robyn.
rules.
Robyn, I'm going
Yeah.
to chime in here real quick. The MLS has come out and said now we are not allowed to green the grass any further. It's one of the rules.
Okay, cool. Yeah, I didn't think so. Oh,
Yeah, they changed that recently.
so this is what the garage looks like, you guys, like tons of stuff, right? And so what I did was you go to Box Brownie and you send them this picture, and then you draw all this stuff that you want taken out in a red circle. So I did all of that, and then I wrote notes that was like, this extends to here. I want to keep this switch here. You know, please don't remove like this shelf from the wall, but all of this stuff, like if you could take it out. And if you can see, there's sort of like a clean line here where they can tell where the wall ends. They know that there's nothing back here except for this cement board. And that's how we came up with this picture. So Box Brownie has been super fabulous for me. The key is just to like over communicate. Like you see, like we kept the crack in the floor because that is a part of the property. That's not something that's physically changing when my clients move out. However, all this other stuff was going to be gone. And I think this made the garage look a lot more impressive. Didn't get rid of any of like the mold on the garage door. Didn't get rid of any of the stuff my clients were leaving behind. This is like tile and flooring stuff for the house. But I did get rid of all this junk. Highly recommend. I think if you're a Realty One Group agent, you get like 3 free edits. And then after that, you also get like a free Twilight. I did the Twilight and I hated it. Like, this is obviously not Twilight. This is obviously like still full brightness. I think they did what they can. I thought this looked kind of chintzy, so I ended up not using it. Excuse me. Okay, and then Boost by HomeSpotter. So if you go here and you go to Boost, I've already got it open. This was, I think this was like $50. What they'll do is they'll pull the information from the NWMLS and they'll know what your listings are, and then they'll create an ad for you. And then you can actually edit the ad. So I'd never liked the captions they first come up with. I always try to create with my own captions, but this is like a fully branded advertisement, and you can send it around Facebook and the web. For $50, I got 3 people's engagement. One of them calculated their mortgage payment with it. Someone liked the post, and then someone unlocked photos. I emailed her individually to ask if I could answer any questions or if she was looking for representation. She didn't end up responding, but I think it just kind of shows your clients that you're willing to go above and beyond to try and help market their property as much as possible. What's cool about the web syndication for the ads is they spread it to a lot of different websites. So I've seen my ads like this on HGTV. I've seen them on king5.com. I've seen them on usatoday.com. What they're doing is, if you're within the geographic area to be targeted by the listing, it's going to show up. What's also cool about Boost is you can email your seller results, but during the time that it's active, you can include your seller's information on the list. So Boost will make sure that your seller sees it. And then at the end, like I said, my clients are really impressed that I had gotten them this much visibility. I didn't tell them how much it cost, but it showed them that even though, we'd already gone live, I was doing everything in my power to market it. And then I had my campaign end the day of our offer review date, because you don't want to be selling a house if it is not active on market, kind of thing, just like a level of ethics. Okay, and then Move Easy. That's sort of like the final thing that I always tell my clients is going to happen. I love Move Easy. Move Easy has actually just recently changed their name to Live Easy. I think it was, oh, okay, well, I don't know what's going on here, but they just changed their name to Live Easy. And so Move Easy is really great because it's a one-on-one human concierge. They will call your client and they will set up basically everything your client needs for moving, both buyer and seller side. So if they need their address changed or utilities connected, Move Easy has contracts with, Xfinity, Comcast, AT&T, etc. So you can help your clients find the best rate for the best utilities in the area they're moving to. An example that I had used in the past that I know is true was, if you're moving to the middle of Kansas and your grandma's coming with you and she needs a medical supply store to help her get a walker, they will help you find a medical supply store to help get grandma that walker. Like, they are so above and beyond. They are great. I usually have it triggered, so as soon as the property goes pending, that's when they reach out. But I always like to recommend to my client, like, hey, keep an eye out. I have this human concierge who's going to help you with getting ready to move, and that through a company called Move Easy. So just keep an eye out for that. If you don't want to use it, you don't have to, but it has saved my clients hours worth of work. So yeah, that's my little presentation. You guys have any questions?
No, that
That's-
was awesome.
So our Move Easy account had been apparently inactive for a while. We just got it up and working again. So I didn't know it was changed to Live Easy though. So thank you.
Yeah, I think that literally happened like last week. So I'm sure Realty One Group Corporate's going to be rolling out information about it pretty soon. But yeah, that's my big thing, is like, just kind of the sooner you have information about your listing, the sooner you get it to Rachel, the better off it's going to be. I've utilized Rachel for postcards, invitations to brokers opens, etc. I think these are things you can do that are really helpful. For this listing that I most recently had is like $1 million listing, so I didn't do it. But previously I've used Matterport in the past, and they've done like a blueprint of the property, and I'll actually print out pictures of the floor plans and then had them at my listings and open house to give out to families as coloring pages with my information on the bottom. That's been something that's been helpful too. Like, basically, if you can dream it, like Rachel can help you make it happen. So highly, highly recommend utilizing her for as much of your marketing as possible. And then also, I definitely should have utilized Sarah Brannon, our transaction coordinator, because I had 2 listings and then I was going on vacation. And it was a little chaotic. I had to pull over to Starbucks to do a little bit of work here and there. But utilizing Sarah is inexpensive and she's on her A game, and it just makes life so much easier. So looking back, regrets, definitely should have hired Sarah.
Noted.
I feel like I've got a huge shout out today, so thank you for that, Robyn. Just so you guys know, I'm always here to help, and I dropped this in the chat, but just so you guys know, some of the things that Robyn creates, like her beautiful flyer that she showed us, I'm also available to help you with that if you guys maybe aren't as creative, or you don't have the, maybe you don't use Canva or anything like that. That's perfectly fine. I'm here to help you with that. Robyn just happens to be one of our more creative agents. So she was able to create something really, really nice. But I'm here to help you guys with that as well.
What's great about Rachel's Canva designs too is, like, for example, that virtual flyer I had, because it's hosted in Canva, you can actually get a view only link, and then you can share that with people too. So I also share that with my clients. So if someone's not physically able to come to the property to get one of those 12-page booklets, they were able to flip through it like a magazine online, and it presents pretty beautifully. So it's another thing that I've utilized Rachel for, because she can not only just send you, the downloadable hard copies of the file, she can also send you view only links that you can put in post as well to get better visibility.
You can also put those kinds of links in, like if you have a Linktree profile, you can put those in your Linktree profile as well. So somebody could go to your Linktree profile, click on that link, and they could scroll through that like a magazine, like what Robyn's talking about.
Yeah, and for example, like if you have that view only link, it doesn't make sense for you to put it in a comment on your post, because on on Instagram, for example, you can't actually click links except for the link that is in your page's bio. And that's why utilizing a Linktree, which is free, super easy to update. That's something I recommend. Another thing I recommend is if you just want to share like the website or your listing, don't go to Zillow.com, don't go to Redfin, don't go to any of these third-party sites. You want to drive as much traffic as you can to your website. So go to your website, look up the property address. It's going to take you to a page of your website with the property on it. Copy and paste that, and then share that to your social media posts, because that way when people click through, Redfin, Zillow, etc., aren't getting the clicks, but your business professional website is.
Is there any way you can like repeat that last little bit for me, please? Like instead of Zillow. Sorry, I missed that part.
No, you're okay. So what if I, let me actually share my screen again. So for example, just the other day, let me see. My website, it's always worth having your own domain. So even though I use a Realty One Group website, I own Robyn Rodriguez 253. Honestly, this is dumb. My handle for everything is R-Rodriguez 253. I don't know why I picked Robyn Rodriguez, but whatever. But I'm utilizing one of our company websites under my domain through GoDaddy. And then if I'm looking up a property, for example, let's see. Does anyone have, like, whatever, we'll pick this one. So if you look up the property address and then you search for it, give it a second, and then you'll see this link. So it's still my website, robynrodriguez253.com. but then it's got the URL that connects to the information about this listing.
Gotcha, gotcha. Okay, that was the part that I missed. The Robyn
Yeah,
Rodriguez. Okay.
yeah, so then copy and paste it. And then when you go to your Facebook page, for example, and you go to share it, rather than driving traffic to the Redfin page or the Zillow page or whatever, you can put your own link in here. It'll pull up the little preview for you in just a second. And that way, when people click through it, they're going back to your website instead of to the third-party site, which is a good way for you to capture the lead yourself and then also drive traffic to your website.
Beautiful, beautiful. I like that.
Yay.
And is that GoDaddy, is that a little bit expensive to get the domain?
So it depends, right? So different domains are going to cost different amounts of money. I'm nobody, right? So no one was trying to buy RobynRodriguez253.com. I think it cost me $10 to $15 a year.
Whoa. Okay, because
exactly.
I tried to look into it and it was like, well, I think it was like $5,000.
I mean, if you're trying to get like Washington Realty, yeah, you might not be faring so hot. You know, Tacoma houses, probably not. But if you like, you want to pick something for your name, you know, I picked 253, which is maybe not the greatest idea because what if I move out of the 253? But whatever, too late, I'm committed. But I picked R Rodriguez 253, and then this is the link for my Facebook business page. It's facebook.com/R Rodriguez 253, Instagram.com/R Rodriguez 253, LinkedIn.com/in/R Rodriguez 253, because all these websites are little spiders that work together to create the net. And the more you are reiterating the same thing, the more your pages communicate with each other, the more likely when someone searches for you, they will find you. The reason I picked Robyn Rodriguez Real Estate and Robyn Rodriguez 253 is because Robyn Rodriguez is actually another woman who's super cool. She's like a doctor, and she's been online for as long as I've been alive. And so when you look up Robyn Rodriguez, you will not find me for the first 10 pages of Google search results. But if you look up Robyn Rodriguez Real Estate, I come up right away. So that was sort of one of my ways of differentiating myself from this other Robyn Rodriguez, so that I did have an option of showing up online. And then also Rachel and I in the past have created like a how to search for yourself kind of thing. So periodically what I'll do too is I'll go into an incognito window and I'll go to Google and then I will look myself up. So I'll look up Robyn Rodriguez and you'll see it's this bad bitch, which like I said, I cannot compete with her, right? Like she's dominating the first like 10 pages of the search. But if I look up real estate, it will pull up my business page, it'll pull up my website, it'll pull up our office's site, it pulls up my Facebook, LinkedIn. Even though we're not realtors, you can have a realtor.com website. Alignable is not something I use basically ever, but you can see it shows up in my top search results. So I'll go in there periodically, especially before a listing, just to sort of make sure that it's updated, everything looks correct, etc. That way, you know, when people look for me, they can actually find me. Got some stuff in the chat. Kim uses Namecheap for all her domain housing, cheaper than GoDaddy, and it's all the same stuff. Yeah, there's really not a way to go wrong. I just use GoDaddy because previously I had to have an email address connected to my business website because otherwise I couldn't make GIFs in Giphy. I gave up on that because Giphy is super annoying to make GIFs with, but my goal was when I was on Instagram or something, if I looked up Robyn Rodriguez, I would have my own GIFs that I could add to my stories. You had to have a business email address that was like robyn@robynrodriguez253.com. Otherwise, I couldn't do it. Like I said, ended up being a pain, but that's why I went through GoDaddy.
Namecheap has free email domain forwarding. So like if you have I'm the best agent in the world.com, you can have a free forwarding thing that says like info@I'm the best agent.com, whatever, and it'll forward to whatever email address you want. So
And then if this is something you're starting out with, like, you know, I love ROG, but I didn't brand myself as Robyn ROG Turnkey, because what if I change offices? I picked 253 and that was silly, because now what if I try to do more business in the 206 like Seattle area? So try to keep it specific to you, specific to real estate, but not, I think, what is yours, Kim? Kim
Works for
Shelfield?
you.
Kim Works for You.
If you type Kim Works for You into Google, I am everywhere.
Exactly. And so you want to kind of pick something that is specific to you, that is kind of malleable across time, depending on how long you want to do this job, just for best visibility, because you don't really want to change any of your branding or any of your usernames or what have you, like a year down the line. You kind of want to run with it, and then just like bricks on a foundation, just keep building it up over time.
Gotcha. Great information.
Awesome, guys. Do you guys have any questions? All right, sweet. Well, thank you guys so much for joining me today. I hope you guys enjoy the sun. Get out there. I'm not gonna. I'm going back to bed, but
You know,
you
I
so
do have a
much.
question. Are
yeah.
you that the paper that you were reading off of, you know, can we get a copy of that or?
Yeah, totally.
Okay, cool. Thank you so much and get better.
Of course.
Get some rest.
Thank you. Yeah, I'm excited. I'm going back to bed. But yeah, I'll just send this in an email to Rachel, and when she sends out the recap, I'm sure she'll send this with it too.
I hope you feel better soon, Robyn.
Thank you. It's gross. I'm over it. I'm super excited to get better. But
Thank you
hopefully
so much,
antibiotics are
Robyn.
working,
I think
so.
this is going to be really useful for people to rewatch and stuff like
Awesome.
that. I really appreciate it.
Of course, you guys. Well, you take care. Have a good day.
You too.
Thanks.
Thanks, you too. Bye.